Greetings, people. It's Jared here, Wolfgang One, back to do another Transformers review. So, we are moving on from 6 weeks of pieces of shit. Many thanks again to Marcus Prime for suggesting that one. That was a riot, I can tell you. We're going to be looking at a semi new figure today from the Legacy line. One that was sort of surprised the hell out of me when they announced it. And I thought I had to check it out. And overall, I've got to say, I wasn't disappointed. So, let's crack straight on into this. This is the review for Transformers Legacy Point Blank.
Right, okay, so here's Pointblank in his box, in all his box glory. I've never really rated. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I understand why they changed the packaging more environmentally friendly and all that sort of shit. I've never been a particular fan of the legacy style boxes. I think they did it on the Buzzworthy Bumblebee toys as well, and they might have even started as far back as sometime in the Siege line. I don't remember the exact specifics because I've slept a lot in my time, and my memory is failing me as I get older. Anyway, but as a general rule, I've never really rated the modern style boxes. Some decent artwork, right? Don't get me wrong. I love the artwork for the alt mode and everything like that. Some decent artwork for the character on the side, and some bullshit on the box on the back of the box as well. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a box. I mean, when I do these reviews, there's only so far I can really go when I'm talking about the figure in the box because it's a fucking box. It's a piece of cardboard, and there we have it. The good news is with this review though, is I can actually get rid of said box and put it in the bin. So without further ado, let's crack on to the next stage of this bullshit and look at the contents within said box. Okay, so here's Pointblank in his futuristic Cybertronian alt mode car fucking thing. I'm going to draw some comparisons between this and the original G1 version in just a moment. First of all, I'm just going to show you a couple of accessories. Not that it came with much really. One instruction booklet. Yeah, looks lovely. And he comes with his Target Master companion. Fucking hell, what was his name? Peacemaker. That's it. Now, Peacemaker, there we are, focus, thank you very much. Peacemaker is shorter than the original, which I've got right here. Might as well just start the comparisons now. So shorter than the original, but has slightly more going for him than the original in terms of like sort of a few extra paint decals, which is lovely. So they picked out his visor and his faceplate as opposed to just painting it all white. Some nice detailing on the chest. It's got one step extra transformation than the original. Focus, please. Yeah, whatever. So transformation for the original was literally just that. The transformation for the new version is the same thing, bend over, but then extend the barrel. And it's interesting to see how his alt mode is pretty much exactly the same, including the little slant, a little angle thing just on the barrel, even though on the newer version it's a lot more pronounced. In terms of size, they work out roughly about the same size as well, even though one figure is smaller than the other. So that's pretty interesting. So in terms of the figure itself, now I've not really fucked around with this since I bought it. I transformed it to robot. I transformed it back. Sorry, to car. Transformed it back to robot. Stuck it back in the box for when it came time to do the review. So as a result, I'd forgotten quite a lot. But it turns out that I didn't need the instructions to transform it. The transformation is relatively quite simple. I'll come on to that when the time comes. This version has got a little bit of paint chipping just there that you can see just on the front there. A little paint splodge just there, and a tiny little bit of paint just on the end just there. It would have been nice if, like the original, they'd have made all this section at the front flush because this kind of just looks a little bit unfinished. You could have even actually picked out that grill with a little bit of silver. That would have been quite nice. Um, but as a result, compared to the original, which I've got right here, you can see that the new version is just a little bit. It doesn't look finished compared to that. Now, the interesting thing is, on the original, all this section just here is stickers, so the headlights and the air intake grills and that are all stickered. Whereas on this, in terms of like what details they decided to keep, they fucked off the side bits just there, but decided to keep the headlights, which they've molded in, and the intake, what's supposed to be the intake grills, they've molded those in as well. It's interesting what survives and what doesn't. And of course, yeah, they've molded in the air intake things on the bonnet of the car as well. Now, in terms of the blue on the new version is, I think, supposed to be what the original was supposed to be before. Obviously, mine was not such a great example because it's like sort of faded and sun damaged. But the blue is very reminiscent of this. So the new version doesn't come with this spoiler shield thing. So as a result, the instead of the target master sitting just there, what we've got on the new version is little ports just here and two little pegs that on the back of the target master's arms, which you basically just put them together and put one in the other. Now, in terms of weapon storage, in terms of attack mode, it's attack mode. You know what I think about attack modes. This isn't the worst one I've seen. However, the clearance for that weapon, unless you arch him back a little bit, is a bit shit. So if I put it down like that, his clearance for firing the gun isn't a hell of a lot over the top of the roof of the car. And in terms of the roof of the car, all this is painted in as well over the clear plastic. In terms of a contemporary update to a pretty obscure figure, this guy actually is pretty alright. The red is a lot more muted. It would have been nice to have seen maybe a metallic style red or something like that. The block red on this is a lot duller than the original. It's like a darker red, but it doesn't detract from the figure basically. Yeah, the car mode a lot squatter, a lot flatter than the original. Almost has more of a Batmobile vibe to it than the original did. But all in all, not not crap, not crap at all. So if we was to take this guy to robot mode, now I've already tried filming this review once, and the review ended up being a Wolfgang 1 review, which was a monumental disaster. However, it was such a monumental disaster that I decided to cut my losses and start again, basically. Right. In the meantime, I've got tea, and the tea is good today, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you that much. So let's start off by taking Peacemaker off the back here. Yeah, not really a hell of a lot else to say about the alt mode. It's decent enough. There's some nice sculpted detail just on the sides here. Would have been nice if they'd picked out a couple of these with like sort of silver accents or whatever. But you know what? They didn't, so I'm not going to fret too much about it. And in terms of where they have applied paint, just back here, and that the paint application, as I showed you just around the back there, is a little sloppy. But not the worst offender for that I've ever seen. So, you know, what can I say? So taking this guy to robot mode. Now, one thing I will warn you of is you need to disconnect this section and this section just here. This here is actually the foot of the robot mode, okay? But these things just on the bottom here are on ball joints. And what invariably tends to happen is you disconnect them and these fuckers pop off. Thankfully, they're easily reapplied, but they do pop off. So let's start by doing that very, very gently. Oh, actually, just, yeah, raise. Okay, that's a better way of doing it. So raise that just like that, okay, and then lift the hood of the car up and then bring these sections out just like this. And we want to extend them all the way out like this. Okay, spin this bottom assembly around 180 and then flip up those those end sections for the feet, and that's basically your legs done right there. Okay, so with these side panel pieces, we want to just rotate them like this and then bring them in like that. Okay, so let's do the same on both sides like this. Bring the canopy back down. Now for this section here, we're going to split the front of the car. Okay, and then just out like this. this forward section of glass, going to pull that back, okay? And then these front hood sections, the front bonnet sections, just bring that forward if you can. Like this, on both sides, okay? Right, now, this back section, open this out, bring out what will eventually be a fantastic head sculpt, lock that back in, bring this down like this, straighten up the head, okay? And then it's just a case of rotating the shoulders forward, bringing that down, and then folding out the arm and bringing the arm forward, okay? Like this, and then like that. So, rotate shoulder, bring out arm, fold out arm, and then bring it forward. And then stand the bloody thing up, pull the camera back, like that, get the bloody light out of the way, which is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And there we are. That is, that's Pointblank right there. And do you know what? He's a decent robot mode as well. I was sort of questioning how thin this section looked. I think on the test model or something like that, the promo one that they showed off, this section was a hell of a lot thinner. So I think at some point before it went to final mass production, they altered this to make it a little bit thicker. As a result, his robot mode is slightly roboty, blocky, but at the same time works quite well. I'd really love to get hold of the third-party version of this that's Masterpiece scale. He looks absolutely fantastic. At the moment, I don't have him, so what I've just said there is inconsequential at best. So if I bring this figure forward a little bit, and you can check out the head sculpt on him just there. Really, really nice head sculpt. Decent face sculpture. Picked out different visor color and everything like that. Yeah, a decent toy. A very, very decent toy indeed. In terms of articulation, excuse me, articulation where you'd expect to find it. Ankle tilts and all that sort of shit. And let's give him some sort of dynamic pose with his weapon. And there we are. That's not a dynamic pose. That looks very, very uncomfortable. Anyway, the point is, either mode, robot or alt mode, he's quite successful. Quite an unexpected announcement when they said that they were going to do Pointblank. I thought to myself, okay, so that's. I know that they did crosshairs from the War for Cybertron. Was it Siege Ironhide mold, or did crosshairs come out first and they repurposed him as Ironhide? Can't remember which way around that was. And I think at some point we're also going to be getting a new version of Sure Shot. So it's nice to see the other Target Masters getting a bit of love. I know that they did Quake Trigger Happy. Fucking hell, what was he called? Yeah, Trigger Happy was originally a Target Master. And yeah, Spinister, Needle Nose, and Quake they've done in the past. So it's good to see like the Autobots getting a turn. Interested to see what Sure Shot's going to be. But for now, this is Pointblank and Peacemaker. And do you know what? I like him. I like him a lot. He's no frills, really. I mean, what you see is very much what you get. Looks a little bit basic in some areas, but sort of makes up for it in terms of like sort of obvious character model cues like the overbearing shoulders. The head is actually a lot better on this version than the original. I think they might have been influenced by the Headmaster's cartoon in terms of like the head sculpt and everything like that. But all in all, a decent toy. Not too loose, not too tight in the limbs and the articulation and the joints and everything like that. He is what he is. He's a decent update of an almost long forgotten figure. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this review. This is Gerald Gavin Barry, also known as Wolfgang1 on occasion, at least in certain circles, saying I will be back next week with something else. I've got no idea what the review is going to be. whatever comes to mind. I might do G1 Cattilla at some point because someone has requested that, so I might jump on that at some point. But until we see each other again, thank you very much for watching this review. I'll be back soon. Until next time, thank you for watching and take care.